Ready to go? Stacking those wins, baby. Let's go.
And Johnson, step into the outside, still on his feet, breaks away. First down the sideline he goes. Can he be caught from behind? Yes, at the 11-yard line.
That's David Johnson.
In 2016, David Johnson led the NFL in yards from scrimmage with 2,118.
David Johnson, he's a guy, I've been watching him Coach of the Year. He's in assists, unstoppable.
Hey, let's treat 31 like the guy we're covering.
The hopping, the gliding, the skipping, the stopping and the starting, and then the Jets.
What defines an NFL career? Is it the highlight reel moments, the records, or the ability to adapt when the game changes around you? For David Johnson, it was all of the above. Today, I'm going to talk about David Johnson and his rise as the league's top running back to his unexpected fall out of the league. David Johnson grew up in Clinton, Iowa, where he quickly made a name for himself as a standout athlete. Despite playing for a smaller 4A high school program, his talent was undeniable, but he was lightly recruited by major college programs. Johnson ultimately chose University of Northern Iowa, a decision that would shape his football destiny. At UNI, Johnson's growth was tremendous. After redshirting his freshman year, he nearly reached 1,000 rushing yards in his first season on the field. Over the next 3 seasons, he became the Panthers' lead back, recording 3 consecutive seasons with over 1,000 rushing yards. By his senior year in 2014, Johnson had rewritten the school's record book, setting new marks for single-season rushing yards, total touchdowns, and all-purpose yards. He graduated as UNI's all-time leading rusher, scorer, and leader in career rushing touchdowns and all-purpose yards. Johnson's blend of size, speed, and receiving ability caught the attention of scouts. In the 2015 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals selected him in the 3rd round, 86 overall, a pick that would soon pay massive dividends. Johnson wasted no time making history. In his first 2 NFL games, he became the first player ever to score a rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and kickoff return touchdown, a feat so unique that the Pro Football Hall of Fame requested his jersey and cleats. By the end of the season, he had 581 rushing yards, 457 receiving yards, and 12 total touchdowns, helping the Cardinals reach the NFC Championship game. Next year in 2016 was easily Johnson's breakout season. He started all 16 games, carrying the ball 293 times for 1,239 yards and 16 rushing touchdowns, while adding 80 receptions for 879 yards and 4 more scores. Johnson led the NFL in total yards from scrimmage, 2,118, and total touchdowns, 20. He also set an NFL record with 15 straight games of at least 100 yards from scrimmage, matching Barry Sanders for the longest such streak in a single season. If you guys played fantasy back in 2016, you guys know how much of a beast David Johnson was. Johnson's performance earned him first-team All-Pro honors, a Pro Bowl selection, and a ranking of 12th on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2017 as voted by his peers. He was the centerpiece of Bruce Arians' offense, a true every-down back with the power to run between the tackles and the agility in hands to be a threat in the passing game. In the final game of the 2016 season, Johnson unfortunately suffered a left knee injury, a sprained MCL, after being tackled awkwardly. Though the injury was not as severe as initially feared, and did not require surgery, it marked the beginning of a series of physical setbacks that would alter the trajectory of his career. David Johnson entered the 2017 NFL season carrying the weight of massive expectations. After a historic 2016 campaign, he was widely seen as the league's most dynamic running back, a true dual threat poised to dominate once again. But the football gods struck in the worst way possible. In the season opener against the Detroit Lions, Johnson's fortunes changed dramatically. Late in the 3rd quarter, he made a 24-yard catch, but was hit hard right on the wrist. On his next carry, he fumbled the ball, later attributed to the injury, and was forced to leave the field. The diagnosis was unfortunate to say the least, a dislocated wrist requiring surgery, and a recovery period of at least 2 to 3 months at minimum. By November, it was official. Johnson would not play again in 2017. This was a devastating blow for both Johnson and the Cardinals. The offense built around his unique talents fell apart without him. Arians said he felt confident in young backups Andre Ellington and Kerwin Williams, but there was no replacing a player of David Johnson's caliber. Johnson's rehab ended up going as planned, and he returned to the field for the start of the 2018 season. Even after the injury, the Cardinals still believed in him and signed him to a 3-year, $39 million contract extension with $30 million guaranteed. The investment reflected the hope that Johnson could recapture his 2016 form. However, the 2018 campaign was frustrating to say the least. Johnson played all 16 games, posting 940 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns, along with 50 receptions for 446 yards and 3 scores. On paper, these were solid numbers, but they masked a troubling decline. Johnson's yards per carry dropped to 3.6, and he no longer displayed the same burst or agility that had made him so dangerous. Johnson's cutting ability, which was a massive part of his game, had just diminished. This seemingly was due to the MCL sprain from 2016. Mentally, the accumulation of injuries may have also weighed on him, affecting his confidence and aggressiveness as a runner.
Tell us from your perspective of being a running back, how could a wrist injury affect him?
Yeah, any of those hand injuries are troublesome because you're always using them. I broke my thumb my last season, and I just kept playing with it because that was my last season. But at the end of the day, you get nervous jabbing when you're blocking. You second guess yourself when you're catching the ball. Just simply holding on to the football going through traffic can sometimes be painful. So it's definitely something to monitor with David Johnson.
The Cardinals' team struggles definitely didn't help either. The offensive line was porous, and new quarterback Sam Bradford failed to ignite the offense. Defenses began to key in on Johnson as the only consistent threat, stacking the box and forcing Arizona to beat them through the air. The team finished 3-13, firing head coach Steve Wilkes after just one season, and entered another period of transition. With a new regime head coach Cliff Kingsbury and rookie quarterback Kyler Murray, 2019 was framed as a fresh start for both the Cardinals and Johnson. Early in the season, there was flashes of hope, but it quickly became apparent that Johnson was no longer the same player. He missed 3 games due to an ankle injury and a concussion, and when he did play, he struggled to make an impact. Johnson finished the year with 345 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on 94 carries, averaging a career-low 3.7 yards per attempt. His receiving numbers, 370 yards and 4 touchdowns, were more respectable, but he was clearly losing ground in the competition for touches. The Cardinals acquired Kenyon Drake mid-season, and Drake's success in the backfield pushed Johnson into a backup role for the first time since his rookie year. The Cardinals now were fully aware that this new version of Johnson was not just a fluke, and by the end of the season, it was clear that Johnson's time in Arizona was just about over. In March 2020, the Cardinals traded Johnson along with draft picks to the Houston Texans in exchange for All-Pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. This trade was widely criticized, with many analysts calling it one of the worst trades in recent NFL history for the Texans.
Maybe the biggest wow, the biggest cringe-worthy shock was the trade that Bill O'Brien made to Arizona, sending DeAndre Hopkins. Arizona got out from under David Johnson's contract, which was outrageously overpaid.
Crazy.
Yeah, because he's been ineffective and hurt for 2 years.
Yep.
Wait, you took on his contract, you gave us DeAndre, but how shocked were you that Bill O'Brien made that deal?
I was shocked. Skip, I believe if you look at, and I think Bill O'Brien is a good coach. I don't think he's great. But him as a general manager, this is what he's done. He traded away Jadeveon Clowney and didn't get a first-round pick. He traded away D-Hop and didn't get a first-round pick.
Nope.
Let that sink in.
Johnson's tenure in Houston was marked by flashes of his old dominance, but also by inconsistency and future injury concern. In his Texans debut, he scored the first touchdown of the 2020 NFL season.
Drive coming on 2nd down and 1. And a handoff here to David Johnson. And David Johnson looking for the end zone, and he gets in there to the first score of the season.
And finished the year with 691 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 314 receiving yards, and 2 receiving scores in just 12 games. He missed time this season due to a concussion and a stint on the COVID-19 list. In 2021, Johnson's role shrank even further. He appeared in 13 games, rushing for 228 yards and catching 32 passes for 225 yards and a single touchdown. The Texans struggled as a team, and Johnson's production reflected the team's record. In November 2022, Johnson signed with the New Orleans Saints, first joining their practice squad before being promoted to the active roster.
I mean, mentally, how tough do you have to be to kind of maybe bounce around and pick your spots and figure out where you're going from here to there, because it can change pretty quickly. It has for you.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things is trying to stay consistent on a team and try to help out the team as much as possible. Mentally, that's draining, and not really for me. It's more for my family. You know, I got 3 kids now, a wife, and just have to uproot them, you know, each year and have them go to different places is probably the toughest thing.
He appeared in just 5 games, carrying the ball 12 times for 24 yards and catching 4 passes for 47 yards. It was clear that his days as an impact player were over. On May 19th, 2024, Johnson announced his retirement from professional football at age 32. He finished his career with 4,071 rushing yards, 2,805 receiving yards, and 57 total touchdowns, 39 rushing, 18 receiving. He also ranks 3rd all-time in rushing touchdowns for the Cardinals franchise. Now, let's answer the question, what happened to David Johnson? The rise and fall of David Johnson pretty much defines the career of many NFL running backs. For such a violent position, injuries can often be too much to handle and they can't keep up. The combination of physical setbacks, changing team dynamics, and the brutal nature of the running back position ultimately led to Johnson going from the league's most productive running back to averaging less than 4 yards per carry. Overall, though, David Johnson was an electric player to watch, and his legacy has definitely been cemented, especially among fantasy football players, for his elite 2016 season.